Like, never stop questioning, stay stupid, always ask questions, always figure stuff out, never give up, and keep, I'm that donkey that has a carrot in front of it, and that carrot for me is knowledge, and I'm just walking behind it. And the further you get into something, the more, questions arise. So just stay. You get rejected. What is the worst thing that can happen to you in any facet of your life, with your job, with money, with relationships, with anything? What's the worst that can happen with your health? You're rejected in one thing, go try it again. I guarantee you that rejection taught you something, even if it's like 1% more than where you were before that rejection. So 99 rejections later, you'll be at 100%.
Welcome back. Today, we have the pleasure of speaking with a truly inspiring leader in the business world, Osman Izaz. Osman is a seasoned professional with a remarkable career journey, having navigated the dynamic landscapes of both management and leadership with grace and determination. Currently, he serves as an associate partner at IBM, where he plays a pivotal role in driving strategic initiatives and delivering innovative solutions to the clients worldwide. Before joining IBM, Osman honed his skills as a senior manager at Deloitte, one of the world's leading consulting firms. His experiences at these prestigious organizations have equipped him with a wealth of knowledge and insights into the challenges and opportunities that come with leadership in today's fast-paced environment. But beyond his impressive professional achievements, Osman is also deeply passionate about mentoring and guiding the next generation of leaders. His commitment to personal growth, resilience, and maintaining a positive mindset has not only fueled his own success, but has also inspired others along the way. In today's episode, we'll dive into Osman's career journey, explore the lessons he's learned, and discover how he continues to inspire and empower those around him. Get ready for a conversation filled with valuable insights and powerful advice that you won't want to miss. Let's welcome Osman Izaz to the show.
Hey, thanks for having me.
Check your LinkedIn profile. Your career path is truly inspiring. What key moments shaped your journey and brought you to where you are today?
So what brought me to where I am today? It's a combination of a lot of things. So I'd say my childhood, born to a military family, moving to North America. When I was back home, I born in Lahore in Punjab. I never thought I would be, sitting in Canada one day, where I am, doing what I'm doing.
Coming to my podcast.
Yeah, that too. Unfortunately, but yes, so my childhood, my parents, especially my mom, and every person that I've met on the way to where we are today, including yourself. So it's been a journey. It's literally taken the whole village to raise me, and I'm very privileged to be here today, and honored to be amongst everybody.
That's nice. How did you overcome the biggest challenges in your career, and what lessons did you learn from those experiences?
So one of the key lessons, and I think that's an immigrant lesson, I'm going to be honest, is, and I think I learned it in my first couple of mistakes, was literally, what's the worst that can happen? One of the most beautiful things about a country like Canada is it gives you multiple chances. So one of the key lessons that I learned, and which helped me always bounce back and try again, was like, what's the worst that can happen if I fail? You know what? I'll try again. Life will give you so many chances here. You just have to go and grasp it. So I think that's something that I've always held by. Anything I jump into, I always think, well, what's the worst that can happen? Well, I'll fail. Okay, you miss 100% of the shots you don't take. So I've always been like that, or at least since I've been here for the last 25 years.
That's correct. Also, if we have a mindset that life is an experiment, right? If we have that mindset, we're gonna try more stuff. Even if we fail, it doesn't matter. We're gonna get up and try again. Until and unless we try again, it will not matter.
Failure is only a failure from one lens, right? But there's multiple sides to every story. One door open, one door closes, many doors open, all of that stuff. I'm a big believer in that. What is a failure? You cannot call something a failure till you look back at it from 10 years or 15 years later. Some of the things that I wanted to be part of that I'm not product today, and I thought those were failures back then, are actually reasons why I've succeeded in my life or where I am today and where I'm going. Like this journey is not even like close to being completed.
Yeah, it's a learning process. If you fail, then you learn. If you win, then you learn and party. That's the difference, right?
Yeah, I mean, I don't see it as a win, but I think there's a constant climb in life. But I think it's just for every on a staircase, every step is a little bit like it's a small victory, and that's what I take it as.
Right, right. That's correct. So, what drives you to excel in your field, and how do you maintain your motivation and passion over the years?
So I always I'll always say, and I think you've seen it on my LinkedIn too, is like remember the days we prayed for the things we have today. So every morning I wake up and I say, hey, if somebody would have told me 5 years ago, 2 years ago, 10 years ago, 15 years ago, where I would be today, I probably wouldn't believe them. So I'm very honored and I'm very humbled by what has been achieved so far. But at the same time, there's still something in the crosshair, the next step, the next success, the next better humanship, the next, whatever the next goal is, that's still there. And then one of the main things that drives me now is my kids. So I want to be a good role model for my kids. And I'm one of those people that does not wait for their kids to make them proud. Why don't I make my kids proud? So everything I do every morning, every day, that's one of my mantras in life. It's like, hey, if my kids look back to that one day, how proud will they be of that? So that's a driving factor in staying motivated and things like that.
Yeah, that's a great factor. I want to talk about the gratitude thing that you say that you never thought that you're gonna be here. Gratitude is super powerful. People don't think about it enough and they don't value it enough. But like you said, you wake up in the morning and say thanks to the things that you have right now. It's a super powerful technique. I think everybody should do that because there's always a person wants to be in your shoes and is trying hard to do that. So yeah, we should be thankful every time.
Yeah, there's that Facebook or something that's been meme where there's a person who's walking and that person's looking at somebody on a bicycle
Right.
and goes, I wish I had a bicycle. That bicycle person is looking at a motorcycle. The motorcycle person is looking at the person in the car is looking at a plane, blah, blah, blah. And at the end, you see someone who's sitting, I think doesn't have legs, and is looking at the person who's able to walk. So it's all about perspective. Gratitude is key. I think there are certain things that happen in life that drains you get gratitude. You can't be born with it. Like I don't expect my kids to have the same level of gratitude that I have, and I don't think I have the same level of gratitude that maybe my grandfather had. I think life teaches you stuff. You go through certain things where you gain gratitude, and life humbles you. So I think your level of gratitude, even if I wanted you to have the same level of gratitude that I have, and the same level my dad wants me to have, is probably not possible, even if we think it is, because you have to go through certain steps in life. You have to
Yeah.
fail. You have to go through a lot of rejection, things that you've done, things you wanted but you couldn't have. There's so much that happens, and you get to where you are, and then you start to appreciate things.
Yeah, you mentioned a keyword, rejection. What are your views
Yes.
on rejection? Because a lot of people, they are super afraid of rejection, so they don't even try what they want because they are just scared of they maybe get rejected.
Yeah, so again, I'm going to go back to what's the worst that can happen? You get rejected. What is the worst thing that can happen to you in any facet of your life, with your job, with money, with relationships, with anything? What's the worst that can happen with your health? You're rejected in one thing, go try it again. I guarantee you that rejection taught you something, even if it's like 1% more than where you were before that rejection. So 99 rejections later, you'll be at 100%. So I do not think that anything that you get rejected is not meant for you. I just think it's another step for you to hone your skills, like you said, and get back up and go back at it. And this is how I'm wired. Maybe to a fault that I don't register rejections like most people do. So,
I
I
think
don't
that's a
think
superpower.
it's a big deal.
Mm.
And also, rejection is a great reflection, by the way. You go enter like trying to start like deadlifting 500 pounds right now. You're gonna obviously get rejected. You're not gonna be able to do it. What does that teach you? That teaches you that you're not ready for it yet. Go practice. Start with like 1 pound and 2 and 10 and 50 and 1,000 and whatever. So rejection can be taken both ways, right? One is you can get demoralized and change your path, which is also in a way teaches you stuff. Or you get right back up and you try again and you analyze it at the same time. So theory of insanity works very closely with that. Don't go try the same thing exactly the same way when you know it's going to fail. But like, adapt and recommit.
Yeah, right. I think if you have a shield against rejection, I mean, if you, like you said, that you don't have a barrier for rejection, that's a superpower. That's a
I don't know
superpower.
if it's a superpower, but
100% it is.
and okay, well, thank you.
Yeah.
So
And
Mr.
I
No
was,
Rejection be my superhero name then.
that's your name, yeah. So I was reading a book recently, and in that book, the author was saying his dad was a immigrant in States, and he had a very thick accent. He used to sell printers by going door to door, okay? And most of the time he got rejected. Nobody wants to buy from a person who has a thick accent. The other person can't even understand properly. And also English was not first language, so it was difficult for the other person to understand him. And the author was saying that sometimes I used to go with my dad, and one day he sold a printer, and then he said, let's go and go have a dinner. And he was super happy, but he said I was sad because listening to no all the time, and then one yes, I was like, what, why are you doing this? He was so sick of listening no. He said, son, this is your lesson. I have a target of getting rejection, at least 25 rejection each day. He was like you. He had a barrier to rejection. He never cared if somebody rejected him, just because his dad taught him when he was 7 years old. So yeah, that reminded me of that story. So I just wanted to mention that. So let's, yeah,
Printers are a dying breed, but that is a great lesson.
right. Okay, so I want to know, like, what habits or routines you follow and that contributed to your professional success.
So I think if I go back to my Deloitte days, my business profile or my business chemistry was pioneer and integrator, right? So pioneer is somebody that likes to lead, things like that. I'll leave that one. But integrator is interesting. So an integrator personality is somebody that's always trying to find a connection. So it's or work from the CRM world. So the way I look at the world, I look at it as a CRM, and I'm like, how can something connect with something else? So when somebody comes to me and comes up with a problem, right away, instead of sometimes even lacking the empathy, or they might think, I'm right away thinking of like, MacGyvering it in my head to say, okay, this person has this problem. I know that person that can fix that. I know that connection that could do it. If that person knows that person, they might know another. And there's that thing that takes off. It's like, that movie Limitless or something, where there's like all these things that go through my mind, and I always try to come up with a solution. So 24/7 in my life, I'm solutioning stuff. And I do not stop that. And I think I was blessed to have parents that encourage that, that open thinking, things like that. My partner is like, my wife is like that too. So I just come up with stuff, and that's the only exercise I do. Like, I'm not waking up at 6 in the morning and I'm doing certain rituals and stuff like that. I'm nothing like that. What I am doing is, whenever something comes to me, whether I know it or not, I'll Google it, I'll look it up, I'll read about it, I'll figure it out. I'll make some educated guesses, get a starting point, things like that. So those are some of the habits. And I am constantly looking up things. One of my main things is if I'm talking to a client, I'm having a business issue and stuff, I am 24/7 Googling things. ChatGPT is the new tool, other things like that. What can I find? How can this be done? What are some of the examples that were used to figure this out? Things like that. What are some of the connections of things that I already know that are kind of like this? There's that, uh, there's that algorithm that's running in my head 24/7. And I think that is something that's led to definitely a lot of rejections, but a lot of success too. I've gone into client or advisory stuff where the client is trying to tell me what their issue is. And as they're telling me that, I am grasping information, asking questions, looking up stuff at the same time, right? And by the time, and it's happened on many occasions, where within that meeting or within that session, at some point, we've achieved the same level of equilibrium and I understand their issue. I'm asking questions. I'm part of the next step for them and things like that. And they're at ease because they know that I know their problem now. So it took time, but this is something that I think this is like something I wouldn't call it a routine or a habit, but it's a constant every day, every minute I'm learning something. And that's also in my personal life. I am always learning a new skill. I think our brain is like a sponge. If you stop, you will get,
So
stagnant.
what
So I'm always
you
learning something.
so there's a saying, it says, what you don't use, you lose.
That's
So
exactly it. That is very much true. And we've known each other for a few years, and I picked up a few habits, things like that. One of our common friends took me fishing one day, during COVID. I got into it. Now I'm like a master angler. I have like multiple fishing rods for different situations. I'm a good fishing guy. I went somewhere else, got into that. Took my motorcycle. I wanted to get it fixed. I saw what the mechanic was doing. I'm mechanical. Next thing I know, I looked it up. I built a motorcycle in my living room. You know all of these things about me. So I'm just saying that, so that evolves. I follow things with it. Now some of the things I want to do, I want to get a pilot's license. It's one of the goals I want to do. I want to learn how to sail. So constantly evolving, learning, and you have to train your brain to do this. You can't just randomly one day get up and say, I'm going to start doing it. And again, there's things that I don't do, but this is one of the main rituals I have is that I'm like in a constant state of, and then the sponge setup where I'm just picking up new things. And if you get used to it enough, you start to retain a lot of it too.
Right. So while you were saying, I was thinking this is a growth mindset. All the points that you mentioned, that's a quality of growth mindset. Like a lot of people nowadays talking about different kinds of mindset. If you have a growth mindset, or what's the what's the opposite of growth mindset? Stagnant mindset.
I don't have the growth mindset.
Yeah, exactly. So all the things that you find solution, you learn quick, you're a quick learner. So all are the qualities of growth mindset, and it's super important to have that one, I guess.
Yeah.
So
So these are some of the things that, and again, it's a gift and a curse. There are times where I have things in my head that shoot me up at times, and I'm figuring it out. I can look it up, and I want to figure it out. Like, if I fell in the middle of the ocean, how will I know which side is east and which side is west? Or if it's a zombie apocalypse, like, how will I make fire? How will I reinvent some of the technologies? There's all of this stuff that is in there. But the fun thing is that people around me, I bring them along to some of these new things that I discover. And then if I find out that somebody I know, like you, doing a podcast or something like that, I want to be part of that too. So I picked up fishing. I invited all of my friends to go fishing, like motorcycle, car, trips, culinary stuff, cooking, so new habits, invite people, get them involved in it. And one day they will become, this will inspire them. You never know when you're inspiring someone. This is something that, I remember I was a little kid, my dad took me to play squash one day. He used to play squash in this army place. It was a very good squash player. And he took me one day and he showed me how to play squash. And then, he was always traveling, never had time. That one incident inspired me so much that I spent the rest of my life playing squash. I was competing at the Quebec level, things like that. So you never know who you're inspiring. You stop somewhere and sometimes I'm riding on my motorcycle, a little kid is waving at you, you wave back. Not because, you never know that might inspire that person. And in the same way, I've met people in my life that have both inspired me and have uninspired me by the things that they have done when we have come across each other. And both have taught me. So
I think that's a super powerful way of living. If you think all the time that you're inspiring someone, so you are always doing your best. So
yeah, yes.
Yeah, that's super inspiring actually. I like it.
No, thank.
You gave me so many more questions to ask you, so
go ahead.
Okay, let's go. So How important do you think?
Okay.
So, how important do you think it is to align your career with your personal values and passion?
It's very important. I think it's one of the most important things ever. I will never align my career to the things that I don't value or my honor. So there are certain industries that I would never be part of. Like, if something is harmful to you, like tobacco or something, things like
Yeah.
that, things that I don't believe in, even things that I do, like, but I think, that I find is not something that aligns with my honor meter or whatever you want to call it. It's very, very important. I cannot work in something that doesn't inspire me. I think that is key to be motivated, and also key to be, if you believe in what you're doing, that's the first step, right? You've achieved the main hurdle. There's a lot of salespeople that are selling things that they don't believe in. The products are never going to be sold. And then there are people that are doing like the simplest of tasks, but they super believe in it and they're like, super successful at it. So I think it's very important that you believe in what you do. And I've actually changed few careers to align myself to where I am super comfortable or super happy in what I'm doing. And then is, where I've realized. So in my case, I started my tech career with infrastructure and things like that. I wasn't into that. And then like, the path led me to databases, things like that, which led me to CRMs. And when I came to a CRM, that was good, but it was the Siebel days. It wasn't bad. But then when Salesforce came along, or Dynamics or things like that, these are like, these guided experiences and things like that, how you can build stuff and how AI has entered that. Super fun. Sky is the limit. I can think stuff, it can make it, you can customize it and things like that. And we're getting to a world today where, people can do it themselves, things like that. So I'm super into that. And that motivates me every morning to get up and do what I'm doing. When I sit with my client or sit with people that I work with and I'm able to solve these problems, I love that. And I also have multiple careers that if I was not in this, I would have been a chef. But other than that, I would have been a mechanic. Like these are all things that I do in my life on the side, and I would have loved to choose them as a career too. Because even if I did them every day, I would not get sick of it. So I think it's super important that you're into your career, and also don't do anything you don't like doing. That's one of my biggest things. Like I know people that are doing something, oh, but you know what, this pays the bill or whatever. You live once. Like do what you're happy doing. Every day you should enjoy what you're doing. Or at least that's very much.
Yeah, that's how you can give your 100%. Otherwise, if you
That's
believe in it,
exactly it.
otherwise you'll be like, halfway through it. So yeah, before asking teams questions, how do you inspire your team? I want to ask some few questions. How important is the role of partner in your life? I'm asking this
Like
because you just
my
mentioned
job
few
partner or my wife partner.
life partner.
Very important, very important. Especially in my case, it took a little bit of a while to find the right partner. I think it's very important. The right partner can make or break a lot of things. I mean, there are people that maybe can survive alone, but I think if you can find a partner in life that echoes your values and you echo theirs, and it's a relationship that it's a symbiotic relationship. Somebody that you want to stay young, that makes you feel young, but at the same time you want to grow old with them. That's a benefit. And I always like, I envy. This is something I always tell my friends. I have friends that are like that are celebrating 25 years together, 30 years together, and I always envy them. I said, that's so amazing. Like, you've been together for so many years, and you're going on. Like, statistically, technically, you've been together 25 years, and you're 40 years old now. Or whatever. Like, high school sweetheart met like, when they were kids, and they're still together. I have a few friends like that, and I'm amazed by that. And I'm like, what? Technically, you can last together like till 90 to 100 years. Like, that for me is statistically impossible. So I think that inspires, and definitely is something that's beautiful. Lucky to have found the right partner in life, and I actually think that there's a lot of achievements that happen because I met a certain partner in my life, and they encouraged me to go to a new height or continue to reach new heights. And at the same time, there were some past partners in my life also that were very good. and they helped me become who I am today. If I didn't go through all of these experiences, I wouldn't be where I am. So I think relationship, whether they lasted or not, is not the important thing. The fact is that what that brought you and how it helps you become what you are today. So I'm very grateful to everybody
Right.
I've been in the company of in my life. I think when you have good synergy and energy at home, that makes everything better. Your work life is going to be better. Your attitude is going to be better. Your risk taking is going to be more. You're able to take
Confidence.
a risk if like somebody is backing you up. Like I have a partner, in my life now, like that is enabling me. She's like, hey, you want to take a risk? Do this. I got you.
Right.
That is your parents should do that with your kids if they have the means and they are the only people that do it. And if you can get a partner after that that does it, like life is a lot easier that way.
Yeah, then you get like exponential growth for sure.
That's exactly it. But it's not easy. Like I've come through I've had my share of like good relationships and bad relationships. So, it's and I've seen how it affected my life. So it's definitely a important part of my life. There are people that I know, a lot of people that are very happy, very successful,
Right.
or that are not even in relationships. And I know a lot of people that are like very unhappy and not really doing anything, and they're in very good relationships. So I don't think it's different for different people. But in my case, I would say there is nothing like having a good life partner.
Right, right, right. Sweet. I'm glad that you find a good life partner.
Fact,
I'm happy
so
for you. So, you also mentioned about ChatGPT,
yeah.
how it's changing or impacting your career and even personal life.
So well, it's not. So I work for IBM. We have Watson X. So we were using Gen AI, actually a bit before this ChatGPT revolution happened. So I was already, using Watson before the Watson X. So I was very impressed by it when I joined IBM, and I left Deloitte and I came to IBM. I remember there was a few times I had to do some HR tasks and things like that, and I was using our smart bots to do it, and I was just amazed how I could just simply type stuff in English, normal sentences, and it would pick it up, reply back, take care of those actions, like booking a vacation or something like that. It was next level. So I was very impressed by that. How I use ChatGPT. I think I use it as a smart search engine, to be honest. I do not use it to generate stuff as much as people do. I actually use it to verify stuff. And I think it's got a good
Mm.
role in that. um I'm sure it's gonna come to a point where it will be almost as good as a human written document and things like that, which I don't doubt. Right now, at least in my life, I don't use it for that. But what I do use it for is I use it as a very smart search engine. I think we were at the peak of Googling things, and there was all that ad
Mhm.
and like, some searches were not that smart, and there was like algorithms that people could beat and things like that. I think that has been taken care of, at least for now. Eventually, they might find a way to monetize that also. But as a search engine, I think we're at the peak of in the last 5 or 10,000 years. I don't think we've ever had knowledge at our disposal more easily since we have these platforms. So, and I've tried a few different ones, and I'm amazed by things. And again, in my world, coming up with solutions, thinking stuff. Now I basically have someone. I don't know if it's sentient yet, but I have something that I can bounce my ideas off of, and it will search quickly and come back and say possible, not possible, or how is it done. So, absolutely cherishing it. But again, I'm using it more as a search engine.
That's nice. That's nice. Yeah, it's super useful. I say.
Absolutely. I'm also very technology, and I've become like that more and more. But I'm very open to technology.
Right. That's a growth
So
mindset again.
yeah, that's exactly it. There was a time when I said, when I was younger, I was like, "Well, I only going to drive a car that has a manual stick shift transmission, things like that." Today,
But
it's
that's fun.
yeah. Today, tomorrow, the self-driving cars, things like that. I'm totally into that. I love that technology. I'm studying it. How is it working? Why does it do that? One of my cars has that. I love that. What's the next technology? Things like that. In everyday things, what's the evolution? I mean, it was like yesterday we had flip phones where we could dial numbers. Now we can, we have like these devices that are smarter than Apollo's computer landing on the moon and things like that.
Right.
So this is only getting better. Um,
Yeah.
I think ChatGPT or AI or Gen AI, it's just we don't even know the right use cases yet. We're just enjoying the little tidbits here, but I think in the next 5 to 10 years, it's gonna open a lot of new doors.
Yeah, I think the phone will be, what's the word, extinct? No, it will be
I think it will
obsolete.
evolve. A
I
human
think the phone,
communication device, human communication device. I think
yeah,
I find the laptop and computer and all this stuff, desktop, this is going to be extinct. I don't think we'll need this anymore.
yeah, I think phone, mobile, according to me, the phone and the laptop will be obsolete,
Yeah, I
and
think so too.
there's gonna be like, in the air you can just go anywhere and you can
Yeah,
just wear a shade something, or like have
wearable. Yeah,
draw something, and you're gonna see your
yeah,
laptop, your computer,
I
your
can see that.
phone.
With
Yeah,
cloud, with like smart screens, all you need is a big screen that you can
right,
go anywhere and there's a screen, log into your account, and then you have the processing power available to you. Speed of your connections have become so fast that I don't think we need to have. So desktop, I think, will be the first to go.
yeah, for
Laptop
sure.
probably second, and then maybe like devices like
Phone,
iPads and things will be good enough, and then they will evolve into something else. I think the personal phone, we still like our personal stuff close to us. I think that would be the last to go, but it will morph into something because I think with AI and the way it interacts and Neuralink and things like that, like typing and all that stuff, I don't think it's going to last long. Eventually, you can
right.
just say, talk. Even right now, the way and even at IBM, I was saying like the way we interact with our smartwatch, I find that eventually, and the way Alexa is right now and things like that, I don't think there'll be a need to physically type things anymore. It's getting so good that yeah, I think the keyboard and all that stuff is I don't see a long term future for it.
Yeah, for example, if you ask um, kids who were born in 90s or before that to do a symbol of phone, they will do like this, right? And if
Yeah,
you ask a person, a kid who was born after 2000, he's gonna be like this, right?
yeah, it's gonna
Then
be
the
like this,
yeah,
right? Yeah,
then the future generation will be like, what were you like? When
yeah,
they
yeah.
will see our pictures or videos, they'll be like, what is this device? Phone? What's
Yeah.
that?
Well, I come from the time when you had to like dial the phone.
Dial.
I think my so it's a funny story. One day I was just going somewhere in the mall or something, and I saw a person had a smartphone, but the cover looked like a cassette.
Okay, yeah,
So my
seen
my
that.
sons were born in 2007 and 2009. So my elder one was my older one. I said, hey, look, that phone looks like a cassette. And he goes, what's a cassette? And I said, oh, it's the thing that came before the CD. And he said, what's a CD?
What's CD?
And I said, you know what? Don't
Leave
even.
it.
Oh, oh yeah.
That's
Technology is
funny.
evolving so fast. And there are certain technologies that came in the middle that barely lasted. Like when we were kids, the VHS or that technology lasted like 20, 30 years. From the right all the way to the 2000s, I think it was there. The DVD, for example, was maybe like less than
DVD.
5 years or something, right? Because
Yeah.
everything moved on, like Netflix and all that stuff. So there are certain technologies that barely, and then now I think technology evolves a lot faster.
Right. And they were like industries who were based on DVDs, like Barnes and Nobles, I guess, who were totally dependent on that, and
Well,
they
Barnes
just
and Noble
died
was a
after
bookshop. Barnes and Noble
bookshop.
is the
Yeah.
chapters of the U.S. Great store, they still have it. But yeah, there was a lot of well, you're talking about Blockbuster.
Yeah.
Blockbuster was like
Yeah.
yeah. So if you were a kid,
I
at least I
haven't seen
remember.
that. Yeah, I haven't seen that, but I know I've read some articles, so that's how I know it.
Yeah, and I,
Or
I
books.
remember at the end it was so sad because around 2006 or 2007, I remember the Blockbuster close to my house had a deal where you could rent a movie and you didn't have to return it. You can keep it as long as you want, right? Because they were competing with Netflix at that point, right?
Right.
And so it was sad, and you could see the end was near. And then they tried different things. They were trying to sell posters and stuff like that, but the end was there. So I think there's one blockbuster left in the world now, somewhere in the in the
Yeah.
US, which is like an honorary store, things like that. But like, yeah, it was one of my friends had a side business. He had a video rental shop on the side in Montreal. And I was trying to tell his kids and my kids, like, my dad had a video business on the side, and they had no idea what I was talking about. As a kid, and you had to go
It's
there and
it's pr-
movies. Yeah,
it's primitive now.
yeah, that's right.
Yeah. Yeah, recently I also, not recently, 3 years ago, I built a digital video rental store for a platform, video rental platform, digital videos for a theater actually. So
Nice.
they produce a lot of comedy movies. So they just post it there. You can rent it or you can buy it or subscribe. So there were three different kinds of options.
Also, digital library. Okay,
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So let's go to the leadership questions now.
okay.
Your favorite, I guess.
I don't know. Let's see what you have.
As a leader, how do you inspire and empower your team to achieve their best?
That's a great question. So I'll tell you what. I always have the belief a good boss will teach you things. A bad boss will teach you a lot of things. So I've been blessed to have a few bad bosses in my life, and I've been very blessed to have quite a few very good leaders in my life. So the bad ones taught me how to be good, and the good ones affirmed what I was doing was right or developed my skills even more. One of the things that I have noticed that I think because I come from a military background, I always knew this, but in the military background, somebody was giving you crap all day, not because they were more qualified than you. It's just because they were born before you. So a captain is getting crapped on by a major who's getting crapped on by a general, but that general might not be as smart as that captain. But that general luckily was born 15 years before, joined the army, went through the same ranks, has more experience for sure, but now sits on your head uh, and gives you crap because they were born before you. And I think that look at my caliber. My dad was in the army. So, he was either getting crapped on or he was like crapping on other people. So, and my mom was an academic, which was a totally different field where there was a lot of love and teaching people things, which is something that I gravitated more to. And I realized that, there were people that I worked for in my life that inspired me for sure, but also they went out of their way to make sure that I can one day be in their take over from them. They had that succession thing going on. And I remember I was at Deloitte also, and one of my leaders, one of my coaches actually told me, he said, let your story be defined by how many people you help promote. And even promote above yourself. That is
Yeah.
what leaders do. So I think that's one of the things that I've always done. I've looked at like anybody that's ever worked with me or for me as like, how can I be a vessel to help them jump the next level, directly or indirectly. And I think that's the job of a good leader, is to inspire and is to enable future leaders. A boss will just give you crap. And I do not want to be anybody's boss. But I want to influence people and, achieve even more than I have. And many of them have actually achieved more than I have. They're better than who I am. So that's why I've always been involved with a lot of different groups, and if I can do anything to inspire people, help people, that's very, very important. But I was at like even now I'm part of STEM, Women in Tech, very dear to me. Let's inspire female leaders to come forward, go further. Minorities. There's a few different things that I'm involved with, but I'm at least trying somehow to help. You know, to achieve to help future leaders achieve their goals, like some of my leaders helped me. I think leadership is all about helping people. Like you're just another little cog in their path of success. That's what leadership is. And then the other thing, and I think that's something that there are two kinds of people in this world. There are people in this world, if you are, if you're one day walking or something and you suddenly hear there's an accident or there's a shooting and stuff like that, there are two kinds of people. One that will run away from it, and the other that will right away think and say, "How can I help?" and run towards it. Those are the kind of leaders that always inspired to be like, and I've tried to be. There's an issue. I don't run from it. I run towards it. I remember, when COVID happened, we lost everything. I didn't know what was going on. It was crazy. Everybody was shut down. And I next day said, you know what? We need to regroup. I put a call together. If you remember my daily, I set up a morning call every day. Let everybody wake up. People are working from home. What can we do? Things like that. I noticed like a lot of my peers, people were not feeling okay. Neither was I. I was very scared. I didn't know what was going on. But I said, I know a lot of people are from, other countries that are working with us. We need to get the support system going right away. And, so things like that. Leadership is a lot of responsibility.
Yeah, you mentioned one thing that you mentioned, you were scared as well. So that's what defines leadership. You are scared, still you do it.
Of course.
That's
You
the, I
don't
think,
do
one
it
of.
because you like to do it. You do it because you'd have to do it.
Right, right, right. Okay, what other qualities you believe are essential in a leader?
Well, one of the key responsibilities or qualities of a leader is to know what you're good at and know what you're not good at.
Mm.
Like, just being a leader doesn't mean you are like the master of everything. You need to know your weaknesses and you need to enable others to take over and help you with that. And at the same time, one of the things that's very important to me is that my team or the people that I've led or inspired know that I will never do them bad. I'm not going to, there's a lot of like I've gone through this, but I would go to my manager and the manager would like put a story to work in front of me. Oh, this is what's going on. I'll take care of you with things like that. I try not to do that. Somebody comes to me, I need this. You know what? I tried, I asked for it, not tonight. I'm really sorry, can't happen. Or, hey, I know you need a raise, you need this, whatever the next step is. This is what the next steps are of what I'm aware or I'm not aware. Like, just put that out honestly. They will be initially not happy, but eventually they will realize that, at least, my leader was honest with me.
Right.
So the leaders that literally look up to their team and say, hey, I do not have the answer, but I will figure it out for you or with you, are much better than the people that will just, pick up stuff. And, I don't believe in the blind leading the blind. Leadership is not about knowing the answer. Leadership is about guiding people to their maximum.
Right, right. Another quality that I find in you is that when you enter a room, and there are 10 people, strangers, you don't know them.
Yes.
But when you come out of that room, everybody knows you.
Yes.
I think that's called being charismatic, right?
So it took a long time actually, believe me. When when I was in school as a kid, I was in a military family. So every 2 years, as a military brat, we would move to a totally new city.
Right.
So all the friends that you had, gone.
New friends.
Unless somebody's dad or mom also had the same transfer as your parents and you ended up in the same city, chances are important. So every 2 years, you would have completely new friends. So you don't have a choice but to go make new friends, right? So what that ended up doing is that I had thousands and thousands of friends, I would say, but I never had one of those like key best friends or someone because I was always out of sync. So the benefit was I made a lot of friends. The disadvantage was like, every now and then, like, I had a good friend, but I hadn't seen that person in like 2 years. And I would meet them and they would be talking about things which I missed out. So I wouldn't know if they're explaining to me what happened. But the superpower that gave me was, look, next 2 years are going to be lonely. You need to make new friends. And, in the beginning, I remember I would be in class, somebody would ask a question, I would want to raise my hand because I knew the answer. I'm telling myself the answer in my head, but somebody else raises their hand, answers the question that I already knew. And I'm like, okay, well, next time I raise my hand and they ask the question, and maybe I didn't know the answer, but so I think that also reinforced my what's the worst that can happen kind of thing. But I remember I was a kid and there was this recital or a debate or something that they wanted to do, and I put my name in there, and I wanted to debate. And the teacher, like, there's 5 people from my class, and he took my name out, and he said, "Yeah, you're not gonna be doing whatever. I don't think you could do this, whatever. So, okay, no problem." like the kind of top three people or something like that. It was just an inter-class thing or inter-school thing. And the last second, that person didn't show up or something, and the teacher was like, "Hey, you, Oz, do you want to do it? I'll do it. I'll do it." Hey, man, did it. Actually won the competition. And
Wow.
then I
So
look
you
back
improvise.
and I said, you know what? He didn't want to put me in this. I won this, and now we celebrated that I won for that group.
Insane.
And those are one of those things where I just realized. I said, you know what? You got to take what is yours. And now, so that built like, I wouldn't say charisma, but built the confidence. And I think there's also a little bit of like, I always want to like be noticed or something. That's maybe like some of my inability. So that helped. I use it to an advantage. Over time, I mean, I think at the beginning I was just, getting attention for the sake of getting attention. It's maybe not the best attention all the time, but over time, I think it's come to a point where you network or you get attention for the right reasons. And it's not just like, now it's not just like, I'll go meet people not just because I want them to meet me. Sometimes I want to meet them also. So now it's a very symbiotic relationship. But yeah, I think, like I said, you live once. If you walk into a room, there's three people in there. I'm in the same room, we're at the same event or whatever. Why not say hi to them? Get in the elevator, you're going up. You work at IBM, they work at IBM. You know that, they know that. Why not say hi to them? We work for the same company. We work towards the same goal. So what's the worst that can happen? Go back to the rejection thing. You'll say hi, they won't
Rejection
say
thing.
hi. They won't say hi.
Right.
That could happen. Has never happened. You look at
Right.
somebody and you nicely introduced yourself, they'll also always nicely introduce yourself. I remember that story by Steve Jobs where, he was looking for, said, what's the worst you can do? Pick up the phone. So he picked up Hewlett Packard and called them. I think Mr. Packard or whoever, and Hewlett, I forget the story. And the guy gave him a job. So, that.
Right. 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 Right.
So I don't think it's more charisma. I think it's more, the rejection, what's the worst that can happen kind of thing. So, hey, let's just say hi.
Yeah. So this is from another book about rejection only. He said, "What again? Like you mentioned, what's gonna worse happen? They're not gonna reply hi to you. Everybody's gonna die, right? Eventually, everybody's gonna die. Who cares? Nobody cares about that. So even if you get rejected, nobody cares because everybody's gonna die. So
Yeah.
that's nice. Yeah, that's inspiring. So how has mentorship played a role in your career, both as a mentor and as a mentee?
I mean, I wouldn't be where I am today without good mentors. So mentorship has been very key. There are certain very distinguished individuals who took me under their wings, and they really helped me become who I am today. Sometimes I apologize to some of them for being like very bad at certain things, but these are the people that never gave up on me, and I think it's my duty to take that, like, put on and like pass it to the next generation or the next group of smart leaders that are coming along. So mentorship is important, very, very important. I think human race, the first person that discovered fire, that man or woman that had figured fire out, if he or she kept it to themselves, we'd still be eating raw food today or things like that. So, somebody actually took the time to show it to the next person. And that's like the chain of mentorship. And I think it's our duty to pass that on. And also as a parent, your job is to kind of mentor your kids and show them at least what you know. And then take these little scientists and like enable them to learn way more than what you do. So I think in circles, like mentorship is what I'm all about the next generation of what we can do to enable them. So the only way I know how to do that is mentorship.
While you were saying that, it reminded me when I was a kid. I don't remember who said that, but somebody said, nothing is invented. We don't invent anything. We just discover it. So it's not, we don't invent it. So why not share it, right? So we need to share it because we are just discovering it.
Yeah, that is very true. And imagine if, like, in different parts of the world, people are, without telling each other, working on the same stuff. Einstein never shared the theory of relativity or something like that, and like somebody in like another part of the world is like figuring it out and maybe never discovered it. imagine the consequences of things like that. The fact that we can share, teach, pass this on. Like if everything breaks down, we have the knowledge and the expertise, and we can rebuild it. That is such a superpower.
Exactly. So, what's the most valuable piece of advice you have received from a mentor, and how has it influenced your approach of leadership?
So, but there's been a few, and a few good ones. But I think mentorship for sure. You can find inspiration in anything, right? There's like things that have inspired me, like Eminem, that song when he's
Lose yourself.
rapping for it, "Lose Yourself." So that motivational thing for me. I didn't come from that background. I wasn't like rapping for my life, but I totally get that. That's it. So there's stories in life that have inspired me for good and bad. There were those 1,000 men landing in Gibraltar and, conquering Spain.
Mm.
Crusade, not the greatest story, but inspirational in the sense that, a little bit of people did that, or the story of 300 and things like that. Those are all very inspirational stuff. But one of the things that like, one of the, my older son is a great inspiration for me. He had a surgery when he was young. The way he went through it, you know, I was very, like, it humbled me, it aged me, but at the same time, I walked away very inspired by how strong this kid is. And just in everyday life, I don't think there's like everything and anything is a mentor to me. Honeybee is like going from flower to flower, collecting, nectar and taking it back. Mentorship, like, the resilience, things like that. The spider climbing up again and again and falling down is like, these are the things. I remember one of the recent inspirations I got was from boss of my leader, Philip, that you also know. Remember, he told me, he said, instead, like, people are always asking for promotions and the next step and things like that. And his thing was, I want to know it so well that I don't want to ask for the jacket. I want to fit into it. And at some point, you are the master of that, what you do, that there is no choice but to, that you are the right choice, that you know it so well. And that was very inspirational for me because I was chasing those promotions and things like that to one day where I got to a point where I said, no, I want to grow into this. If you know what you're doing and you're doing it to the best, if you're the best at it, the promotion or whatever the next step is will come. And I actually slowed my career down. I was having this crazy rise in my career. And at some point I said, you know what, I want to spend time in doing these things, and I want them to be like, my muscle memory to build that I can do it at my sleep, and then I want to move forward. So I think that was a great retrospect and a great career advice that I was giving, that, learn, become the master of it, and let the bear the fruits automatically. You don't have to ask for them.
Right.
And it's not a promotion if you have to ask for it. So, that's that it company. I mean, obviously, if you're being denied, don't just sit there. That's not my point. But there's nothing like becoming an SME in something and being that person that everybody goes to ask you about whatever that is that you're an SME at. That's a broker.
True. Nice. Can you share a story of a time when resilience, you mentioned resilience right now, right? And perseverance were key to your success?
Well, I don't know about resilience or perseverance, but I do know that the day that I felt the most alive was like the story of a night. I mean, I know I'm at IBM now, but years ago, I just moved to Canada. It was my first job. I was working for this company called D-Link, and I remember we laid off a lot of people, and I helped. I had to lay them off. I was the manager, so I helped them find a job and things like that. So a lot of those people. Reference, there was some openings at IBM, so they applied there, they got in. So I gave them references and things like that, and somebody said some good stuff about me, and I got a job interview at IBM, and I was super excited. It was like a dream come true. The next 2 nights, I studied every day about the history of IBM. Imagine showing up to an interview and saying IBM was formed in like 19 days, and was the first CEO. That's useless information, but I learned that all by heart. And I was super excited to go to IBM, and I remember my ex-wife and I spent the whole night like learning about IBM and things like that. And the next morning, my interview was at 9 a.m. I was sitting there outside. I still remember 375 BJ. I was sitting outside 6 a.m. in the morning. Not a religious person, but I was praying and I was just like, oh, if this happens, things like that. And I had all my notes written down and I was just like, reading them. And at 8:45, I was just shaking and I got out of my car and I was walking towards the office. And a good friend of mine now, the recruiter, Alina, she called me and she said, hey, how are you? I said, oh, I've been here since 6 a.m. I'm ready to walk in. And she said, it's okay, there's going to be other interviews. You just not. And I said, what do you mean there's going to be other interviews? And she goes, well, you're a good person and, you're very qualified, but trust me, like, I don't want to say this, but I think they've already selected somebody else. And I just stopped and I remember like, there's this scene in that movie, Over the Top, this arm wrestling movie where the guy just turns his hat and he becomes a different person, Sylvester Stallone or something like that. Something has happened and I just flipped. I remember I flipped for it, and I said, that's not true. This is not, no, it's my job. And I just hung up the phone. What am I talking? Walked in my head when I think of this memory, Lose Yourself, that song is playing. I walked in, and the guy that was interviewing me, his name was Gianni Gentile, but he later on came to Deloitte actually. I think he's at Kindle now. And he sat down with me. It's supposed to be 30 minutes. We interviewed for like an hour, and it was like, that episode of Limitless when like different things are coming in my mind. But I was always like, I was like here. I always tell people like I was drowning, that the water was only here. I just had to do this and I'd be out of the water. But instead of that, I just like jumped and flew out of the water, and I was like, you know what? I will not be denied. And I sat there. He thought he was interviewing me. I was interviewing him. And he had no idea. Like, he was just having a day where he was like, Monday morning or whatever that day was, I have this interview. Oh, I was fighting for my life. I had never felt so alive in my life. So 1.5 hours later, answered everything, made plans, what we're gonna do, this, that. Like, it was a crazy interview. Adrenaline is pumping. My heartbeat was probably like at 160. And after 1.5 hours, he's like, okay, enough. I've already missed 2 meetings. This is done. I can let you go. I will hire you. So I'm like, thank you. And I'm just like, it still brings me. And I came back. I sat in the car. I was screaming. I was crying and screaming. I was so happy and so sad. And the recruiter called me and she said, I don't know what just happened. I said, what? And she said, oh, they just called me back. They do want to hire you. And on top of that, they don't want you for that position. That position is now going to be reporting to you. And they've hired you as a program manager and you're going to be running the whole thing.
What?
So,
That's crazy.
I know. So, and that I think was one of the biggest moments of my life. And after that, that I think was the day that I realized that it was for a second happened.
That's insane.
That was a key story in my life. Years later, Danny, I think, gave it to Deloitte and, put it in touch and, and he turned out to be actually a very good leader, and I will never forget he gave me my first chance, but I will also never forget that I took my first chance that day.
Right.
I said, you know what? Failure is not an option today.
Yeah, a lot of people would have turned off the phone, then just went home and cried. But instead, you did the opposite.
Yeah. And I joined IBM. But again, this is a great story to, but then 4 years later, I actually made a big mistake and I quit IBM and I went somewhere else. But that's for a different day. But here I am back again. Yeah, those were some of the moments that really changed my outlook on life. I was like, I felt like there's these sharks circling on top of me, and I'm just like in the water, scared of them, and I just suddenly jumped out of the water, got on top of those sharks, and started like riding that kind of thing, like So, and I've never looked back. I think that day. And my confidence went from like -5 to like +1,000. It's always been like that. So a monster was created that day.
That's a super inspirational story, I would say.
Yeah, it's a great it makes for a great story, and I think everybody has a moment in their life where where they do it. right? Not everybody is born like, we have these stories where, like, rags to riches and things like that. Not everybody is born in rags, and not everybody goes to the riches and stuff like that. People have the struggles, no matter, like, the richest people born with like a silver spoon also have their struggles. And then there are people that are born that have to
Mm.
fetch for, like, kilometers walk to go get a glass of water or dirty water. So everybody has their own struggle. But I think there's one pivotal moment in your life when you literally, just face your demons or whatever, and you just say, and I hope everybody gets a chance and jumps on it. And I think I strive to inspire people to take that moment and, go face their journey and, take that job or whatever that thing is and, succeed. And it all worked out. He actually turned out to be a great mentor for me, and worked for him for many years. And, now today I think he's a project exec at Kendall, so that's good. But like, so many jobs came through that. There's a circle of life. After that job, Alina became a good friend.
Mm.
Helped me with, like, I helped her, she helps me. We help each other hire many people. Here, there, she was actually, they exactly what I did at IBM. One of the recruiters I knew that worked with me there mentioned me to Deloitte. They said, hey, this person built exactly that team over there, and they hired me. And, the work was amazing, and I built the team there too. And then, same Salesforce as a company I worked with. There's so many projects and, things like that. Put good work for me. Some, and then next thing I know, I'm sitting at IBM. I'm an AP. I run the federal practice. Just very humbling, very good. But it all started from that one day that I just refused to give up.
Amazing stories. So you mentioned about you always look at the solution. Whenever there's a problem comes, you always have your head towards the solution. I want to
Yes.
know what strategies you use to turn challenges into opportunities.
Yeah, that's a great question. So first of all, I am optimistic to a fault. I'm internally optimistic. I'm always like looking at the brighter things. And I'm also extremely claustrophobic. So I am very, like, I don't like tight spaces and things like that. So I avoid those. And I think
Right.
that is what drives me, that whenever I come towards something that I'm stuck, it makes me want to just break out
Mm.
and not be part of it. Obviously, that's not possible in every way. So I always think of a solution of what is the way to escape this, and that escape is really through finding success, and like, what can I use this? I don't want to be confined by this problem. How can I fix this
Yeah,
issue
raise this.
so I can get out of it? And then, there's these mechanisms that happen where I'm thinking of different things, and what can I do to, one day I remember years ago, I went back to, I think I was in Pakistan with my mom, and we were traveling. It's very hot there. We were on the motorway, one of the big highways, and it was like 40 degrees, and the fan belt on the car broke, and I got out. I'm like, okay, I'm like, we're roasting here. And again, you know, I moved to the US at this point. I come back, so I'm not that used to the heat anymore, and I'm just in the moment. I'm like, what can I do? And I thought about it, and I said, you know, I asked my mom. I said, I'm thinking about it. I looked at the motor, and I'm like, okay. I need to put these two belts together. The belt is broken. What does the belt do? The belt works like that. I thought about it. I said, you know what? I asked my mom for her scarf that she was wearing. I tied the scarf in a knot, stretched it out. I said, okay, how do I put it on? Got a stick from the side, put it on the side of the motor, pushed it in, put that thing on, tightened it a bit, started the car, and started to spin. The belt is working. Uh, It was the air conditioning belt actually. So, or the car was heating, whatever it was. Got the belt going. Okay, now it's working, but it's got a little knot. Tightened that up. Took
Mm.
some little bit of oil, put it on that, smoothing it out. Got in the car. It actually started driving better than it was before,
What?
right?
That's
And we actually
insane.
ended up driving at 200 kilometers, and we actually got off the motorway. We got to my city, or you know, from my memory, I knew some mechanics back in the day, so I walked to the first one I saw. I walked, drove in there. I said, "Can you just fix it?" And the guy, I remember he took it out and he said, can I keep it? And I said, yes, my mom's scarf. He said, because the scarf is done. But, and he asked me the whole story of how I did it. And I said, and he's like, what went through your mind? And I said, there had to be certain tension. So I removed, like, part of the engine, like got the two deliver like the things together, the years together, so I feel like you have that tension, things like that. And it worked. So it's stuff like that. Again, like that show MacGyver was like that. I say, what would MacGyver do if he had that? And I think that was a great inspiration to me growing up as a kid. Like someone we never know what we find inspiration from. People think that you have to like be in the presence of like Dalai Lama or somebody to have inspiration. Everyday things can inspire you to learn stuff, right? Like if a bird is pulling a rock
Yeah.
in a stone somewhere to get the water level high, and those are the inspiration that you have. So it's stuff like that. It's just coming up with like just thinking about it. One thing I will say though, and I try to do that with my kids, it's very important for your parents, and as future parents, I would say, or will not stop somebody's imagination skills. Like we are born with like crazy levels of imagination. I think one of the things my parents did, they did not, they let me come up with the craziest stuff. I was very imaginative as a kid. Like, I saw a ninja movie. I would take a stick, and then I would like open the top of a can and like take that circle, make a hole in it, and now I had a ninja sword, things like that. I mean, you can buy like a toy gun or something, but also like making it. And I think they let me make that. The kids playing in the back of the house or like things like that. They're like doing their little science experiments. In this generation, I think we are hovering on our kids all the time, and kind of different maybe too. I don't know. But the things you discover in the backyard and like playing, like, watching squirrels and things like that, they are valuable in life, invaluable actually.
Right, I was going to say, but you already mentioned nature teaches you a lot, and you also mentioned the spider when it falls, it starts climbing again. And so
Well,
yeah,
there's
of course,
ten more land, like the king with like the one leg, right? I think he conquered like that's his story. That I think he was hiding in a
right,
cave or something, and he was watching a
cave.
spider fall like 10 times, and the spider still got up, and he got out and he said, "You know what? We're gonna go and fight again." So and they did. And I think they lost again, and then they went back and went back. And I think eventually they won. So it's sad that we have to sometimes. Now that we look back, these war stories inspire us, the conquest and stuff. I mean, it is part of our history. I try to stay away from those things now, but yeah, there's inspiration in anything and everything.
Right. So what is your vision for your career, and how do you manage like long-term goals while managing day-to-day responsibilities?
So as a great person too, career is exactly where it needed to be. The career is, I think, professionally sitting at a very good spot. Couldn't have asked for more. I get to wake up every morning and do the things I'm really good at, and people that both inspire me and get inspired by me. So I think that is a very good equilibrium that I'm at right now. There's only going every day you spend doing something and getting better at it, you are actually rising. So that rise is happening. Every day you're coming up with like new problems you're facing and you're solving them and you're just becoming smarter. So that is happening. I think I'm not one of those people that has like some goal to say one day I'm going to be the CEO of a company or something like that. Those are not things that I care for. Again, my goal is to be the best at what I can, and then that will automatically lead to the right. My career's actually been, and I've always like told people this. Like my career's been always. I've let it go. I've never like if I wanted to be a certain thing, I started in telecom engineering, and then I did my whole Cisco stuff, my Cisco certification and stuff. And I was I should be in the world of like Cisco routers and things like that. I'm so far from that. I work at the application layer, and that's like the physical layer. But my career was actually morphed by me both liking things, excelling at them, and also following the industry trends, adaptability, and the want to adapt. So I was in hardware. From hardware, I went
Mm.
into a company where I went as a project manager or something, and I was setting up some servers. One of my clients was an insurance company in the US. They needed like staging servers, which were in Siebel. To put those staging servers there, I had to understand what Siebel is, so we could figure out what Siebel is. Now I do that. From there, they start giving me Siebel work. Now I start doing infrastructure for Siebel. from SQL, I get into databases, things like that. Now I move to Yellow Pages. I ended handling all of their SQL environment. I become the SQL maintenance project manager or something. They want to upgrade to Salesforce. Salesforce comes in. I become the SQL guy that's bringing SQL to Salesforce.
Yes.
Next thing I know, I have an expertise now. I'm the SQL to Salesforce guy. I move to the next company. Now I'm a transition guy that helps companies go from SQL to becomes cloud migration. Cloud migration, now I know everything what's happening on the cloud and what happens in Salesforce and how can you take things from SQL and put them on Salesforce. And I start to become a Salesforce expert. And then over time, I actually become Salesforce and I become the Salesforce guy because all the legacy has been transferred to Salesforce. And today I'm a Salesforce guy. Salesforce is, it's a pretty open platform. You can do a lot of stuff. So now, even though I came from a CRM perspective, next thing I know, somebody needs a website. It's Experience Cloud. Now we're offering them a solution, plug in Shopify or Commerce Cloud, this, that. And before you know it, you are just rolling with the next thing. As long as you're figuring it out and you're becoming, an expert at it, it'll guide you through your own field. Next thing you know, AI came in logically, and I was a bit lucky that I came at IBM and we had Watson, so I had an initial, introduction to naturally, I like the rest of the world. Us at IBMers are lucky that we have a little bit of introduction to AI before. And now we rolled into, those solutions became smart solutions, and those tickets become smart ticket defections, and these things are just evolving, and your career is going. And who knows from 5 years from now where this will evolve into. But I am into the evolution and becoming an expert and evolving with technology, and it will guide you.
Right. Amazing. So, a lot of young professionals want to get inspired and aspire. So, what message would you share with young professionals who aspire to follow on your footsteps?
So that, my story is a cautionary story. There's a lot of mistakes that were made on the way. Human beings usually don't learn from other people's mistakes. We want to figure it out ourselves. So the smart ones do. I'm talking about myself, but I never learned from some of the mistakes. I should have. So my and this I tell my kids also is, somebody did this and they got successful. You're looking at the success. You're not looking at all the steps they have to take to get to that part. I remember I'm going to reference a movie, but at the end of Limitless, Robert De Niro, talks to Bradley Cooper, and he goes, he's like, hey, you just took a pill and you became like this. I had to go through, those rejections, there's 70 things that he's a great monologue. He goes, I had to go through this. I had to stay up at night, I don't know what he had to do to get to that part. Don't forget that journey. That is the main, when we eat food, I always say, eating food, gulping it down is not it's the somebody cooked it, you are chewing it, you're enjoying it. That whole journey has to be done for you to so the same way, where you are sitting today and what you're doing, this is just what you are doing today. There's every minute before this is what you have to do to get to this point. And that you need to pay a lot of attention to. And a lot of the younger people, most of them are actually much smarter than me, so they're doing this better. But those that are not, look at a journey. Don't look for that easy solution. We're getting to a point in our, and again, I don't blame you. Not everybody has to walk kilometers for things, and our parents would say, I had to walk to school and do this. Maybe you don't need to do those things, but that's not your struggle. But at least realize that to get to wherever you want, there is a journey. And the journey sometimes has a boring path to it, and also has a lot of steps that you have to repeat again and again. So, there's no such thing as shortcuts in life. You have to go through the hardships to get where you are.
Yeah, you need to focus on the process and do that every single day in order to reach your goal.
Yeah.
It might
And again,
be boring.
food analogy. Yeah. The one part is chewing and tasting the food. It's not swallowing the food, right? So enjoy that journey. The journey is sometimes more fun than the actual, reaching the goal.
The goal. Because when you reach the goal, you feel happy for some time. For example, when the new iPhone comes out, everybody queue ups the first day to buy it, right? And then what happens for a few days or a month or so, they will feel happy, oh, I've got the latest one. Then afterwards, it's the same, right?
Yeah.
So there's
Well,
another
I
trail
think
now.
I think that's part of the human nature. We aspire, we want that new thing, and maybe that's helped us succeed and survive. But I remember, like, my first iPhone. I think I was a little late to the iPhone game. I think my first iPhone was iPhone 3, and then there was the next one, iPhone 4. I got that,
Mm.
and then there was iPhone 4 Plus or whatever they used to have those. I got that, and then I got the iPhone 5, 5 Plus, or whatever the next one was. 5S, sorry, it was a S, sorry. So it was 4,
Mm.
4S, 5, 5S, 6, 6S. And I think it was an iPhone 7. I think I realized, I said, what am I doing? Like, I'm always getting these iPhones. What really changes in my life?
Mm.
And I remember I kept my iPhone 7 and I skipped the iPhone X and all those iPhones that came in the middle. My iPhone 7 or 8, whatever I had, and I remember I eventually switched to the bigger size iPhone because I liked it. I said, okay, this has value.
Mm.
I got that as a good phone and I kept it for a bit. And by then that whole thing had happened where the older phones wouldn't slow down. They were able to keep up. So, the need wasn't there. And I'd actually slowed that down. But it's been like it's close to 2 years. I have an iPhone 14. I don't think there's anything happening right now that I need. I know the charger has changed.
Yeah.
There's a few things. There will come a time where I will really need to change a phone. And I will change it at that point. Every year buying a new phone with slight increments, sure, there's good stuff. I don't want to act as a solution and to the
Right.
land field and things like that. But it's not stopping my life. That's another thing that we don't understand. Like, what is happening in these things?
Yeah.
Every 4 years, there's every year, every couple of years, when we were kids or we were younger, car models would last like 7, 8 years. Phones
Oh
would be the
yeah,
same for
easily.
like 4, 4, 5, 5 years. Now technology is changing on a year-to-year basis. If we keep following it, what are we doing? First of all, I think we're going to lose appreciation if we haven't already lost it. And also, what are we doing to our planet? So there's a responsibility. And what is the point of just chasing things for the sake of chasing? Sure, go get something if you really need it, and it actually has practicality for you, and it gives you something. So this is how I function. I don't need a new
Yeah,
phone every year.
that makes sense. I also buy the phone when my phone dies. Like I cannot do anything else, anything on the phone, then I buy. And rightly you said we are creating a lot of pollution. These
For no
lithium
reason.
batteries, for no reason. These lithium batteries, we don't have the technology to dispose them yet.
That's it.
And it's just like sitting somewhere, I don't know where, and just, bulking up. We don't have any technology to destroy it
Yeah, that's
as
it.
far.
Although the flip side of that is we're also helping create jobs, right? So there's a pro and con to everything. But I think if chasing technology for the sake of like fashion and things like that, it doesn't appeal to me.
Mhm.
But I'm glad it does to some people. I'm not going to fault them. If it does, it proves it helps technology. It helps with uh,
Yeah, that's the thing. That's a caveat. On one side, technology helps you grow, technology helps creating jobs, but on the other side, we are polluting the environment, we are polluting the world.
that's it.
It's really difficult to balance, and I don't think it can be balanced either.
Yeah, agreed.
Yeah, no easy way to balance. I mean,
Yeah, that's it. That's it. Like for anything and everything that you do, somebody is getting hurt and somebody is like
yeah,
getting rewarded. So every decision is you might think I'm just going and picking up a new phone, but what is happening to your old phone? By also
right.
buying the new phone, you're helping somebody that is still into that phone or making that phone. So yeah, there's social implications on both sides, positive and negative.
True, true, true. Yeah. Okay. So I want to know like about your legacy. What legacy do you hope to leave behind in your career, and how do you work towards it every single day?
Career legacy, I would say for me, everything I'm doing, there's well, obviously I'm doing it for my kids, and I want them to look back and I say our dad did this, and that is the greatest thing. These two are the proofs that I ever existed. So it's very important that my next generation is proud of what I did. That's one thing. But at the same time, everything that I do, I also take of that little kid, boy or girl, or that can dream, that can dare to dream. that little kid in some third world country dared to dream that one day this kid will do all of these things, and I'm proof that this kid has done all that stuff. So, I want other kids from anywhere in the world who one day they will pick me and say, you know what, if he can do it, I can do it. Probably better than me. So I think that is my legacy, that anybody, if I can just be a little minute, inspiration to somebody, doesn't stop dreaming because of me. Say, you know what, we need it. Pause there, I can do it too. I want to dream bigger. That could be the best legacy ever.
Right. Kudos to you for that. Yeah, a lot of people, I think, will get inspired from your stories.
Yeah, also.
Yeah. So if you could impart one piece of wisdom to our viewers that has guided you through your journey, what would it be?
So I think my only thing that I live by this is like, never stop questioning, stay stupid, always ask questions, always figure stuff out, never give up, and keep, and there's no end. Like, the goalpost is always moving and you need to keep chasing it. Like, I'm that donkey that has a carrot in front of it, and that carrot for me is knowledge. And I'm just walking behind it. And the further you get into something, the more, questions arise. So just stay hungry. And, like I think Steve Jobs said it, like, stay hungry, stay stupid. That is my guiding principle. Just keep at it and do not, if you are listening to this and, this is something that if any way has inspired you, very honored by that. But the only thing I want you to take from this is just stay hungry, keep figuring things out. Not one day, there should never be a day when you say, hey, you know what, I've achieved everything and I don't need to learn anything. Now I'm going to be a couch potato. Let that never happen. Just always stay up with that knowledge. There's so much to stuff.
That's beautiful. Do you want to say something else?
No, I'm actually very grateful that you invited me to this. And also, like, it's been a pleasure knowing you for so many years. And I've watched you grow from, maybe I should interview you one day. You've done some of the things that I'm very impressed by. I don't know if you've done a podcast on that, like your journey to ethical journey towards vegetarianism and things like that. Those are some of the things that I'm very inspired by, and I wish to follow at some point. And like figuring things out. And again, you're also like very hungry for knowledge, and it's been a pleasure knowing you all these years. And I'm, even when it's recorded or not, we've had some really great discussions over the year, and I continue to want to keep having those.
Yeah, thank you so much. You're one of my mentor, and listening these good words from you, it's always feels good. Yeah. So with this, I wanna thank you for coming on the show and inspiring and motivating all our viewers. And I hope a lot of people will learn from you a lot of stuff. I'm gonna put your LinkedIn handle in the description so that our viewers can follow you. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. It's been awesome. Thanks a lot. Thanks.